What's up, guys? Welcome back to the I-90 Sports Podcast, aka Down the Pike. Now, you've all seen Dante here before. What's up, Coach? Welcome back. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing well, man. All is well, man. How you doing? Thank you for having me a part of the show again, man. Thank you.
No problem. And I brought along a new friend, a new guest on the show. Bo, welcome to the Down the Pike podcast, bud. Thanks for taking time out and being a part of the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
So let's do some introductions first, Bo. So just tell kind of the crew what you're about, man. What teams you cover? What's your YouTube channel focused on?
Yeah, so my channel is Football Talk, and really we talk about all the teams, the NFL as a whole. Personally, I'm a Seahawks fan, but yeah, that's pretty much the entire NFL. We do talk NCAA as well, and of course, other sports exist, so all of them get talked about to some degree.
Nice. That Marshawn Lynch no run must have hurt. Sorry, I had to at least poke the bear a little bit, just a little bit.
So here's the thing about that is it was actually a smart play call. The execution was horrendous, but
threw it right to Malcolm Butler.
Yeah, I mean, and he made a hell of a play. Like I can't fault him for that at all. But I mean, you have one timeout. It's second down. The only way to actually stop the clock is, you figure that pass play worst case is incomplete. Mm-hmm. You can run it the next two downs. You have a timeout, right? So play sequence makes sense. As long as worst case scenario, it's an incomplete pass. In this case, Malcolm Butler makes a hell of a play.
And it's game over.
Yeah. So, I mean, naturally, you're just like, man, we could have done something else. But when you look at the situation they were in, the time they had left, and to be able to use all four downs to be able to try and get into the end zone, it was a smart play call.
Yeah. Now, if it was me, you have probably the greatest running back in the last 10 years. On the field, I'd have given it to him 4 times. 1.5 yards for Marshawn Lynch, I'd have given it to him 4 times.
So you didn't have time to, is the thing.
That's also true. Maybe once or twice in a row, quick in sequence, timeout, and then try it again.
Well, so that's the thing is you would have had a really hard time because they were stacking the box to be able to get all the bodies off of each other.
Yep.
To be able to even get that second one called. So
true.
The idea is that you throw on that second down because the box was stacked.
Yep.
You have an incomplete, clock stops. You run, timeout, clock stops, and then on fourth down, you still have a shot. If you were to try and run and use your timeout there, you potentially could have done a pass play on that next down. But one of those first two would have had to be a pass play just because you didn't have enough timeouts and trying to get back there, in time to run another play. You didn't have enough time left.
But welcome to the show, man. Good to have you.
I appreciate it.
So we're going to start off with some MLB stuff. The Yankees lose 9 in a row for the first time since 1988. That team is struggling. So my question to you guys, I guess, would be, owner, GM, manager, who's to blame for this abysmal season? I'll start out with the newcomer, Bo. How do you kind of like place, blame if you had to go percentage wise? Who gets it? Who's more involved?
There's kind of a lot going wrong with that team. So I don't know that anybody wears all of it. On a smaller note, as a Mariners fan, I don't hate watching this, but
I'm a Red Sox fan, so I love the implosion.
Yeah, there you go. As a Red Sox fan, you definitely have to love this. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that anybody wears it solidly, but it's nice to see them kind of come back to earth and experience what most other ball clubs have. That being said, I think after this season, you're probably going to see some management change, just because they're not used to this, and someone's going to have to be the fall guy for it for sure. And you can only move so many players. So yeah, I would imagine you're going to see your manager and stuff probably get moved on from, especially if the trend continues through the end of the season.
No doubt. Dante, what do you think?
Well, it's a lot of blame to go around. So the roster construction isn't really good. So you have to put most of the onus on the GM and half of the onus on Aaron Boone for the management, because you got guys like that down in AAA that Yankee fans does want to come up, but the Yankees doesn't want to give them a chance. You spend money every single year to try to put a competitive roster on the line, and it still ain't working. I mean, you did get back Aaron Judge. They wasn't that good of a team, even with Aaron Judge in the lineup, especially in the playoffs. You got a bunch of hitters that just love to hit home runs, but then again, outside of home runs, how are the Yankees scoring? Anthony Volpe looks overwhelmed. He does have power, but he does look overwhelmed. Then you have continue to have the same mistake that you have last year. Bad base running. Guys cannot run the bases. Guys making errors on the field. Basically, the Yankees swinging for the fences every time they go up there. So other than that, you got to blame it on the GM and Aaron Boone. Aaron Boone has not adjusted to a great lineup. Again, you traded Giovanni Urshela, who's gotten better over there at Anaheim, over there in Los Angeles. Summerino just fall apart outside of his win last against the Washington Nationals. He's been getting they've been batting practice against Luis Summerino. Carlos Rodon, who's a Cy Young Award winner last year, gets hurt in the middle of the season. He comes back. He's not the same pitcher. The only consistent outside of Gary Cole, they don't have a consistent pitcher stuff. Outside of Gary Cole, you can say been the only consistent pitcher. Hester Cortez, he was in the All-Star game last year. He fell off. So it's a lot of things going on with this Yankees roster. You got nothing but strikeout guys. DJ LeMahieu took a nosedive a lot. You got nothing but at least 220 to 125 hitters on this roster, but I think it's the roster construction as a whole. It's too many home run hitters in the lineup and not enough contact guys in the lineup. And Rizzo is not the same no more. Harrison Bader, he's pretty much a guy that can hit for contact and a lot of power, but I think the roster construction isn't good.
I don't think it is. Well, I don't think it is either. And I mean, Bo, I don't know how you feel, but I don't, like, to me, you can't survive in the major leagues if every one of your hitters is hitting 190 to 250, 260. Like, you can't survive like that. You need guys to hit the ball where people aren't, and ball placement, like, hit it with the what do they always? I mean, since Little League, man, hit it where they're not. Put the ball where and those guys that do that put the ball on the ground and hit line drives and hit, then hit like that, they're hitting what, 310, 320, 308, 305, 315, for the season. Maybe for a month on end they'll hit 290, 290, 295, but you need, 3 or 4 of those guys that can get on base. So when you have your guys that hit, 250, but they hit balls to different fucking zip codes when they do hit it, that's how you balance it off. But when your whole team is hitting like, 215, it's just never going to work. And not only that, they're spending like $300 million on that payroll for a team that's more than likely not going to make the playoffs. And it just, like, if you watch some of those Yankee recaps and games, like, it just looks bad. Like they're making errors in the field. They're hitting into double plays every other inning. There's just no, like, discipline to them either. Like, I've seen Stanton strike out on baseballs that, like, you would need to, like, whip a 9-iron out to get at. Like, they're just not a fundamentally sound team either. Which it's never going to work. And I mean, to me, that's Cashman. I mean, the GM is the guy who picks. To me, good owners of sports teams sign the checks, and that's it. They're money managers. They stay the hell out of the way of the guys who know that whether it's the NHL, the MLB, the NBA, or the NFL. Any good owner hires good people underneath them and gets the hell out of the way.
And that's when Aaron Boone becomes held accountable on this.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, and if your guys making the same mistakes, like during bad base run, if they constantly do not know how to run the bases, hitting in scoring position, guys hitting in scoring position, they continue to struggle doing that as well. Not hitting, bringing runners home in scoring position, continues to put a bad lineups out there, not changing the lineup, not making a purpose of changing the lineup. That's the manager's fault right there. Like, you can put the right product on the field, but if they're making the same mistakes, mental mistakes that lose you a baseball game. If you're seeing San Marino getting knocked around the way he is, why keep him in a rotation? Why not go push him to the bullpen and just bring somebody else a part of the rotation? That's a code that becomes an issue with the manager right there, Aaron Boone.
100%. So here's why I put most of it on Cashman, right? The owner, Hal Steinbrenner, basically has proven that they're spending $295 million. So they're obviously willing to spend. To me, the GM is the guy who says he constructs the team. You have to, Boone isn't a good coach either, but at the same time, like, Cashman's the one who put the team together. So I think Cashman should go. Because even an idiot coach, if he has good talent around him, can still finish 500,
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, it depends on how devoid of talent you are. I mean, they have good players, though. And, of course, they struggle base running because they don't get on very often. Yeah. But at the end of the day, some of the emphasis in the league as a whole at this point is about the long ball.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why everything has gotten away from playing small ball. Small ball wins.
Yeah.
I mean, home runs look awesome, and they can change a game for sure. But I would rather have, 10, 12 hits a game than, 3 hits that were all bombs. I mean, again, on a highlight reel, awesome. But give me some small ball because you can win, especially now that they've changed it so that there's a return of stolen bases, right? Because you can't check a guy 5,000 times. You get 3 shots at it and then, hope for the best. So there's elements to the game that they've kind of tweaked that has brought some of that small ball element back. And for whatever reason, the hitting end of this of the MLB really hasn't come back to it yet. But you're seeing some teams like the Orioles and the Mariners and stuff like that don't have those big power hitters that are actually using small ball to win games. So it's nice to see that kind of stuff coming back. But that's not what the Yankees employ currently. Everybody's swinging for the fence because they want that, Sports Center, right, highlight reel. And, it just doesn't equate to a lot of wins consistently.
No. I'll say this: the Orioles are a pretty good story this year for baseball. That's a pretty cool story because they've been one of the worst teams in the league for a long time, and to see them kind of have a nice little resurgence year is cool. It's good. It's good for the sport.
Yeah, but it is good. It is good for the sport for a team like that. Well, they showed signs of last year playing this way last year. They showed signs of last year, and they got it's a definition of very good young talent, gelling together, having the right manager, and their pitching has actually been pretty good, but they got some young talent, man. You talking about Abby Rutschman, who's a stud at the catcher position, Gunnar Henderson as a shortstop, and Anton Sander, man, I'm seeing him hit two pitches down in the dirt and golf a ball literally to right field last night. Golf 2 of them to right field last night. That's very much insane right there. But they going in the right direction, man. That's a fun team to watch.
No doubt. So let me ask you guys this too. We'll this is another MLB question, but we're going to switch teams here. We're going to go from the Yankees down to their rival and my team, the Boston Red Sox. So they are sitting 4 games out at the moment with 35 games to go. And hey, give me that shit back. My apologies to the crew in the comment section. I'm at my house today watching my pup, and right now he is tearing. Tornado Fenway has landed in the building. So let's talk Red Sox. They're 4 games out. They're about a 500 team, and they got 35 games left. But my concern is they're in a similar spot to the Yankees. There's just holes in aspects of this team that, if they do get in, are going to be really problematic for them. Their pitching staff in particular. Dante, I don't want to hear a word out of you, so I'm going to go to Bo first, because I've been hearing it from you all the last 4 days.
Yeah, I mean, the pitching basically, even if you guys get in, it's pretty much a first round exit. Like, I don't even know if I need to say much more than that. Like, it's it's a one and done kind of scenario if you do get in.
I mean, I hate to say it, but I agree. Their pitching depth is just it's been an issue now for 3 seasons. And let's be honest, right? In this league nowadays, you have to pay to play, especially with the pitchers. You want starting caliber pitching, especially the first 3. You're paying top dollar for them, and there's no way to avoid or get around it in any way. Dante, what do you think?
I think this is not the year for Boston this year. I know you're tired of hearing my voice. I know you're tired of hearing my voice when it comes to my Astros and you the series this week.
No.
Hey, I mean, it's going to always be competitive between Boston, the Astros, like Astros, Mariners. That's just how it is. It's always going to be competitive. Every series we go in, it's going to basically be competitive because, we are the defending champions, and the AL still, like I said, I still say the AL weren't run through us until we are beaten in the playoffs. And so I get that momentum right there. But I mean, Boston has got a very good young talent. I think their talent is actually better than the New York Yankees talent. Talent wise, outside of Aaron Judge pretty much the only one on that team that can actually hit for power and average pretty much on the Yankees. But outside of that, I think the Boston is just lines up very well. I mean, Pablo Reyes hits over 300. I mean, I have to sit up here and watch Turner.
There's a good core. The Red Sox have a good core. It's just the biggest issue for them, and it's been this way for 3 seasons now, is, I mean, let's be honest. You can't hit, you can't have, 18, 16, 15 to 18 hits every single game. The hitting is going to go cold, and that's when you need, your pitching staff to pick it up and, help you win those 1-0 games, those 2-1 games. And when you put pressure on the Sox pitching staff, it doesn't go well. So I read a stat the other day. When the Red Sox pitching staff has 5 or more days of rest, each guy, their ERA is under 2.5. When they have less than 5 days of rest, it's over 5.
They go from competitive to throwing batting practice. Nice.
So that's an insane stat, though, because sometimes in the playoffs, how many times you got to pitch on 3 days, 4 days? You know what I mean? Sometimes you need to put guys in that spot, and top guys can perform, and this staff just can't.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because the Mariners, up until their 25-6, winning streak that they're on right now, or run, I should say, is before that they were a 500 ball club. But the stat that was really troubling is in games that they scored 4 or less runs. Now, if you put up 4 runs, you should have a real shot at winning a game, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
But in games of 4 runs or less that they put up, they were under 200 ball club. That is sad, right? Because when you look at the pitchers,
the pitching staff says you guys should win almost every game,
right? But then the numbers don't work, because it basically, if you put up 4 runs, you're almost guaranteed a loss on the Mariners, this year, which is, I mean, it's crazy to me to think that 4 runs doesn't win you a game, or at least consistently give you a shot. Which is why when you start looking at the games that they do win, it's 5 or more. But they've managed to lose games where they've put up, 10, 11 runs. So, yeah. I mean, there is nothing more frustrating than watching some of the Mariners pitching staff. They have a real hard time closing a game. And so that's something that Boston is suffering from. Closing out a game is hard, even when they're in it, right? They can be in the game and they just can't seem to close it out. So it's
funny you mentioned that 4-run stat, because when the Red Sox score more than 6 runs, they're a 750 ball club. When they score less than it, they're 250. The disparity between the two it's ridiculous. If they're hitting, they're winning. If they're not hitting, they're just not. It's the disparity is huge too. It's incredible. You're not
pulling off the 2-1 victory. You're conceding, giving up 4 or 5 runs no matter what.
Yeah.
So then you're just hoping your guys show up to the plate, because your pitching staff isn't going to keep you in a game. And so that's probably the frustrating part for your Red Sox or my Mariners, stuff like that, is that they just can't close out the close game. Now, if you blow them out of the water with the bats, then great. Yeah, you should win that game. But, when you have those close games, if you can't close them out, that shows that no matter how you do through the season, you're not going to win in the playoffs, because there's a lot of close games in the playoffs.
Yeah. So we could even track it back to these issues started when the Astros and the Red Sox were playing in that series. What did I say to you, Dante? What's the one thing that I kept in that, it's the depth of the pitching. The Astros literally the Astros outlasted.
Yeah,
they were just relentless, every freaking night at the plate.
I remember when we was talking about that 2 years ago when we had that preview about it, and I said I feel good. I feel good about our bullpen. I feel good about our bullpen was really good as well. I believe that's the year we had Kendall Graydon, and we know we had Ryan Presley, Mayton. We had a deep, pretty much Rafael Montero. We had a deep bullpen as well. So we had a very good pitching staff. And I said, I feel good about our pitching staff going up against, the Boston Red Sox. Whoever pitching staff.
Because I was ragging you because the first 3 games, the Sox were hitting the cover off.
Yep.
And then look what happened 5, 6, and 7. The team literally just. They got to the back end of their starting rotation, and they got to the back end of that bullpen, and it literally just derailed. It came off the tracks, and you guys, the depth took over.
Yep.
I mean, that's honestly what had the Astros get past the Mariners last year in the playoffs.
The depth
is, you guys were just deeper in that pitching staff, because I mean, hitting wise, we gave you a run for it through the whole series.
Yeah.
So
I thought after game 1, I could have sensed the series was gonna kind of be limited. I thought after we won, after Jordan hit that game 1 walk-off home run, I just felt I'm like, the Astros is gonna kind of win this year. I think that's the momentum that the Astros need, and that's the momentum that the Mariners could have used right there, winning that game 1. That game 1 was actually bigger than what it was. I thought y'all hit pretty well. In that series. Y'all starting pitching didn't do too bad either. Y'all starting pitching wasn't bad at all.
No, it was a close series. It was probably your closest series of the playoffs, honestly. And coming off of kind of beating up on the Blue Jays, we were like, all right, here we go. And then, you guys get that game 1, and it's a young team. So it was a little bit tougher for them to overcome. But I mean, it was a tough series. So like, I enjoyed watching it. Plus it was just playoff baseball. Mariners hadn't done that in a while.
No doubt. So I have a question for you guys. I want to get an outsider's perspective on this, right? So Rafi Devers gets the big time contract that's coming into this year. The $300 million contract, 305, I think is what they paid him. And he's had a very down year, like defensively, especially. He has not had a good year. It's even the hitting has been down. Now, me personally, when I like to me, the DH, you can go out and buy one. You know what I mean? Like you could go out and they could have go out and bought one DH for less than what they paid him. I mean, because let's be honest, it's not like the guy's a top 3, top 5, top 8, even top 10, like, third baseman. But at the same time, like, to me, I would have kept Bogarts, even though he's older. I think the versatility and the hitting and just he does more on the field for you. So I would have spent that money elsewhere and then just went and seen it. I would have kept Bogarts, but I want to know you guys' thoughts. Would you have given that money to Bogey, or would you have kept it the way it is and paid Devers the younger of the two?
I would have paid the younger. I think they did right because Bogey not doing too well over there in San Diego. So, and Devers, is probably, struggling. And the whole team basically, struggling with the glove anyway. The whole team. This is not just Rafael Devers. The Boston Red Sox as a whole struggle on fielding the ball and on the defensive side of the ball as well. But I think the Boston Red Sox made the right choice. You guys still over 500. You guys still over 500. Maybe 7 games over 500 by today. But other than that, while you on the other side, Xander Bogaerts is not doing too well over there in San Diego. And that whole San Diego looks a mess right now. And they paid all that money and it's not paying off. Soto, point of time, got frustrated and came out in the latest article, said the players are not playing together; they're only playing for themselves, and that tells you how bad the Padres have been. So I think Boston made the right choice. I think Devers will catch on soon. I think he would catch on late stages of the season, but I definitely think Boston made the right choice by paying a younger guy.
Bo,
yeah,
what do you think?
I agree with you. I think they made the right choice paying who they did. I mean, you can bring a younger player along. The older player, is going to continue to fall off. So, I mean, at this point, if you're already not great, go ahead and start developing the talent. If they were making a push, like if they were, the first wild card team or something like that, then yeah, some of that veteran presence in your locker room and on the field could definitely help. But when you're on the outside looking in, you move on, you get your younger pieces and you start to grow. And, you still try to get into the playoffs this year, but in the back of your mind, you're already kind of prepping for next season.
Yeah, I see it. So, my next question for you guys is, do you think there's 35 games left with the Red Sox season? Can they make the playoffs, or are they going to kind of be on the outside looking in?
So I think they're going to be on the outside looking in. There are other teams that are heating up right now, which is generally how the end of the season goes, right? The pack is generally kind of close and then it's that last quarter of the season where there really becomes separation between the teams that are going to be in and the teams that aren't. Whether it was teams making moves to allow that to happen, or, if you just have inexperienced teams that are just starting to trail off. And so I think you guys are going to end up kind of on the outside looking in, and, only because you have teams, similar to the Mariners where they're on a hot streak and it may eat up those last spots for, wild card position.
Dante. What do you think? Can we get in, or are they going to be on the outside looking in?
I agree with Bo. I think they're gonna be on the outside looking in. I just think it's too many talented teams in front of you guys that you guys gonna have to really actually leap. So that means you're really gonna have to be hot. These last 35 games is you're gonna have to actually be really, really hot. Going down a stretch, you got the Astros in front of you. You got the Seattle Mariners, who's probably the hottest team in the game of baseball outside of the loss yesterday, but they still are the hottest team in baseball. You're gonna have those type of losses when you lose to the White Sox. We have those type of. You're gonna have those. This is baseball. So it's 2 games. Someone gonna get you. Gonna get beat by anybody in baseball. You see, and you got your division guys. The Blue Jays are in front of you by at least 3 games right now. So you guys got to up. I think it's too much of an uphill climb. You guys really gonna have to get hot and hope 2 teams at least fall. At least 2 teams fall off the face of the earth. You're gonna at least have.
Yeah. Here's what I was saying from probably the first month of the year. The over under for the Red Sox was 84.5. So basically a 500 team. Now there's 35 games left. Let's say they win 15 of them. That's 500, right? They're at 67 right now. That puts them at what, 82? I don't think 82 wins is going to get you a wild card spot. Not in the American League.
No, I wouldn't think so.
I mean, they're going to have to do better than. And if you look at their schedule, do you realistically think they can do better than 500?
Well, not only do they have to do better than 500, they need the other teams to completely fall apart.
Yeah.
I mean, like not win a game. So you guys almost have to be undefeated, and everyone else has to play 500 ball for that to really work out.
And I don't see the Blue Jays falling off. You know what I mean? The Blue Jays are 3 games ahead of us, right?
Yeah.
I don't see them falling off. I think they can easily maintain with what they get with what they have.
Yep.
And that, like you said it, Bo, like all the other teams have to do is just maintain the lead. They don't have to gain anything. They just can't lose their spot where they're at, you know? So it's just, I don't know. I don't think they're going to make it in either. Not with 82 wins. Not for sure.
I mean, there's a chance though, because everybody's kind of finish to this season actually has some tough teams in it. So, I mean, you know, the next couple series for the Mariners are easier series, right? It's against like the White Sox, stuff like that. But then it finishes against, you know, top teams. So, in fact, I believe we see the Astros again before the end of the season. So, so we're going to be playing meaningful games. So, you know, it's there's a window. There is a window, but you guys have to be absolutely on fire to hit it.
Yeah. We got the Seattle Mariners and the Rangers up in that throughout that final stretch, right? So
yeah, we have to play the Rangers like the Sox. Yeah, I was just looking at the Sox, like the Mariners and the Astros. All 3 of our teams. Schedule's not easy to end the year. It's not.
Yeah. We play y'all again right after the Tiger series. We got the Tigers after this game right here. We play y'all right after the Tiger series and another 3-game series. Then we got the Yankees. So all games kind of soften up, but it's still a good stretch. It's still a good stretch for us right now. So those Seattle and Texas games is going to be really big for all 3 teams because all of us in the fight in the AFC West.
You know who probably benefits the most from that is the Blue Jays.
Yep.
Because our teams are going to be beating each other up.
Yep.
And so the Blue Jays may sneak in just because we're going to beat each other.
Yep.
Yeah, because we're all beating each other up. Yeah, no, 100%. And then we're going to go in to face them. You know, if they get in the wild card, they're going to be a hell of a lot fresher than any of our teams would be.
For sure.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about the newest one of the newest pieces of MLB news. We just kind of found out, I believe today or late last night, the Shohei Ohtani injury, a UCL tear. That's not good, and they wouldn't give too much. They were pretty vague about it too. I've only heard UCL tear. I mean, is it a bad tear where he's got to have it fixed surgically, or can he kind of sit on it and, let it heal itself? From what I've heard, he's not going to pitch the rest of the year. That's been announced. But if that's a surgery, I mean, that's easily 6 months probably of recovery, easily.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, especially the way their season has gone, he may, even if it isn't a surgical repair, just because any kind of tear is a 4 to 6 weeks at best. I mean, that basically takes you through the end of the season anyway. So, and the Angels, let's be honest, aren't playing for anything. So at that point, why would you risk hurting your star, bringing him out early? Pitching obviously isn't going to be a thing. I don't think they let him bat either. I think he's pretty much done for the year.
Well, the other part of that too is who's going to trade for an injured pitcher player that they can't, if he does have to have surgery,
sure.
Who's going to trade for him? The people who are going to trade for that guy, we're going to want to use him immediately, plug and play. If he's got to sit for half a year, that I would imagine that his trade value probably just plummeted right now because of that.
Maybe. I mean, it depends on if it's a surgical repair. If it's not, I don't think it hurts his trade value at all.
No, 100%.
Because he would be ready to come back.
Yep.
If there's a surgical repair, then it just depends on the severity of the surgery. But I still think he has so much upside and he's still young enough that, one of these teams to take a flyer on him for sure. But yeah, I think the market shrinks if it's a, in-depth surgical repair.
Yeah, I think he's a free agent anyway, though. I think he's a free agent anyway. So,
well, I meant signing value. That's I mean, like I meant sign it. Like, does it hurt his signing value or damage? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's Shohei Ohtani. He's damn near the best player in the MLB. So I think any team that's gonna be willing to offer for his services, I think they'll take a chance on him. Especially if the Dodgers do that, you don't have to rush them to come back and play because the Dodgers are already a great squad. They already very good squad. I would say very good squad. I wouldn't say they great because in the playoffs they always find a way to lose when they don't supposed to lose. Other than that, I think they can, if they do decide to sign him, and which is I'm expecting them to be in play for him. I think you can wait a little bit. You can afford to wait because that's how solid that team actually will actually be. But I think like I said, I will keep him out for the rest of the season. I don't think he will make a difference. Mike Trout can stay healthy. The team is poorly. Team is put together poorly. The pitching has never been really good. They got guys that can pretty much hit, but they got guys that can't pitch, and that's the problem you need. If you want to win a World Series in this league, you got to be able to pitch. You got to be able to pitch as well as you can hit.
They had a good pitcher every 5 days.
Yes, that's Shohei Ohtani, and that's Shohei Ohtani. Every time he goes on the mountain, you have a chance to win with Shohei Ohtani. But I think him being a free agent this year, I think teams will have no problem going up again, no matter if it's surgically repaired or if he comes back, because that's how good Shohei Ohtani is. That's how good that when you're a great player like that and the best player in baseball, you get that it won't matter. It won't matter to a team that's going to pick him up.
To me, the guy's the modern day Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
Modern day Babe Ruth.
Yep.
Now, here's the question, just kind of for shits and giggles. What do you think his contract's going to look like? I mean, I'm personally looking at least 500. That's where at least I think he's going to start there. At least try that. But that's where I think it's going to be for a guy like that. I think that's what he's going to be looking for.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I guess it depends. I guess it depends a little bit on how much he wants to win. Like, is he going for top dollar or is he going for a ring? Because those are not going to be the same team. So, yeah, I don't know. It'll depend on what it is he's really looking for. Is he willing to sacrifice a little bit of that top end money to go to a team that has a legit shot, or is he just going for maximum payday And then, yeah, you're right. It's going to be 500 mil plus.
I agree. I don't think it should be with the. I don't think it should be with the Angels though, because I don't think it's no. I don't think they will be, as long as the Mariners, Astros, and the Texas Rangers are in the AL West. They're not gonna come close to winning that, even winning the division. So I think he needs to go. Like I said, I think he wants to end up out west, if I'm not mistaken. So if he's gonna go somewhere, Seattle can get a shot. Seattle can get a shot. At them, they're a pretty good team. They're a pretty good team.
The Mariners have the money too, at least from what I've seen.
And the Orioles, outside
Seattle does have the money to pay him.
So here's the thing about Seattle on that way. And I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No. Go for it. You're the Mariner fan, so let's hear it.
So the thing is having money available has never been the problem. Getting them to actually spend money is the problem. And so I don't know that they actually make a real play for him. He did show interest in playing in Seattle. Obviously, the fan base was chanting for him during the All-Star game because it was here in Seattle. So, I mean, and I think he'd actually enjoy playing here. But whether or not they open the checkbook, historically, I say they don't. If they do, it would be monumental because they really don't give people big paydays here in Seattle, at least with the Mariners. So
that stadium would be full every game.
For sure.
I'm not joking. That stadium in Seattle would be full every game if
Absolutely.
you ended up paying him.
Absolutely.
Yep, definitely.
All right, guys, let's switch gears here. Again, I'm going to ask an outsider's point of view. Jaylen Brown in the offseason just became the highest paid NBA player in freaking history. Never mind, like $305 million. They gave him the Supermax, and he has not won a championship yet. That to me is that's a big time. I don't want to say reach, but it's a risk because the guy hasn't won anything. He hasn't won anything. Like if he had brought, let's say they won in the bubble, that year, that was a good year for them. That was set up perfect for them. I don't know. That to me, you don't pay a guy that much money that hasn't won anything.
So here, mine will be super short. They gave him the most money ever. He's not even the best guy on his own team. There we go.
Oh no, 100%. Dante, what do you think? What do you think, buddy?
I don't think he's worth that money, but I see what Boston is trying to do. They trying to do whatever they can to keep the core together. They in the window of a championship window as of right now. They still can compete. They still can go to the Eastern Conference Finals, even though they did lose last year against Miami. It appears they tied the series up. They had a horrible first half. Let's get that out the way. They had a horrible first half of that Miami Heat game, but they did come back. They did show some fight. They did come back and tied at 3-3 before it ended up getting beat down in Game 7. But other than that, I know I can see what they're trying to do. Porzingis, he's got to stay on the court, which is he's already hurt already, so that could turn out to be pretty stem for the Boston Celtics. But I know what they're trying to do. I don't think he deserves that type of money, but I know what he's trying to do. Now, Jason Tatum is a better player. He's a more talented player. But I could actually say this, about Jaylen Brown. He has the more it factor in him. He has the more want to in him.
He's got more of the dog. More of a dog.
Yeah,
he's more of a dog than
more
Tatum.
the dog. He's got more dog in him.
He's more of a dog than Tatum.
Yeah. He's more the dog. Tatum is the better and talented player, but at the end of the games and stuff down the stretch, he's the one want the ball. He's more the dog. He has more than want to in an it factor.
And you know what? Now that Marcus Smart's gone, somebody's going to have to fill that role.
Yep.
Because guess what? Marcus Smart was the guy who brought the edge. He was the one who would look a dude across from him and slap his mom if he needed to. You know what I mean? But that's sort of that's like they're gonna need that. They're because you got to have at least one or two guys on your team that keep that they look at and they'll be like, I'm not gonna mess with that guy. You know what I mean? Like Jaylen's got to really, with that kind of money, he's got to step up with that. He's got to step up with that.
Yep. I think he does. Go ahead.
So here's one more Celtic question related to you guys. I want, for another outsider's perspective. So Jaylen Brown's money kicks in after next season, but they paid him. Well, Jason Tatum's Supermax is eligible at the end of next season. So there's a possibility where the Celtics could have $600 to $650 million tied up in two guys. And guess what? They're not going to should they? I don't know. They should give serious thought to it. But you're going to pay $650 million because Tatum's going to want, if Jaylen got 305, Tatum's going to want 350, he is not going to move off of that little pedestal that you know what I mean? Yep. He's not going to move from that. So you're either going to have to pay him that 350 or let him go, So it's $650 million in, theory is going to be tied up on two guys that don't exactly get along, for a good 30 to 50% of the time. So there's massive risks involved.
Well, and you better hope that your hot dog vendor can shoot, because that's what's going to be coming off your bench, because that's all you're going to be able to afford at that point.
Oh, no, that's the other part of it too, is you invest up front. Perfect example, right? The Lakers with their bubble title, when they won in the bubble, what did they do? They invested everything they could up front, the front five. Yep. And it won them a title. But long term, look at them now.
Well, and it won them a title because they got to have huge breaks during the season. So they got to rest those guys back up. It's not like they had to play an 82 game complement and only be that. It was actually the downfall of the Suns, right? They had money on the dudes that were on the court and nothing coming off the bench. So, I mean, you can have your stars on the floor for the regular season. The game's played a little different. As soon as you get to the playoffs, your bench better have some dudes on it.
Yep.
Oh, 100%.
Yep, you gotta have that depth coming off the bench. I think that was what's wrong with the Phoenix Suns. They had the star power to compete. They just didn't have the depth to compete against the Denver Nuggets. And I think that's one thing in the free agency block that they address. More shooting coming off the bench in case one of those guys go out, and you can one of those guys like a Kevin Durant or or Devin Booker goes out, you still got Bradley Beal in there that can orchestrate the offense, or you can keep one on the floor while one of them is out, and you can go and start the second quarter. You can sit one of them, bring back one on back in. So I think now that they got enough depth pieces now that they can go on barring injury. So I think that's the one thing they concentrate on in this agency block.
So let me ask you guys this, since we're talking about the Suns, is. So it sounds like you think the Suns actually got better now that they moved on from Chris Paul. And so here's my issue with where their team is now constructed. They kind of got better as far as on the bench ish, but the weirdest thing on this is now that Beal is there, Chris Paul's gone. Who do you have bringing up the ball? Because Booker, Durant, and Beal all like to either mid or perimeter shoot. And none of them are like that dude that wants to be the floor general, right? That is a Chris Paul. So it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to watch how that thing operates, because none of them are that guy. They're actually all very similar guys in the way that they play. So I don't know. The Suns kind of have an interesting dynamic.
I would say Booker because he's the least selfish out of all of them, but that's just me. To me, in my eyes, he's the one most likely to be the least selfish. Give the ball up when it has to be given up, like just to know when to give the ball up. Do you see Bradley Beal giving the ball up? No. No, not at all. Nope.
Yeah. And same with Durant. Like once Durant has the ball, he's going to want the ball. And then, the worst part is because those three guys like to shoot from the from mid-range or deeper, who do you have crashing the boards? Because they don't have a bunch of tall guys, right? So all of a sudden you're going to start missing a lot of offensive rebounds because nobody's going to be in position for it.
Yep. That's a fact right there. But Booker, I think will be most likely, if they don't grab a point guard, Booker will most likely be bringing it up because he did run some point guard for them last year, and he did very good at that. Even though that's not a strength, running a point guard, but he does show some stability to be able to be a willing passer.
Yeah.
So we're going to do one more NBA topic, and then we're going to switch over to the NFL. So Steph Curry made some interesting comments about himself lately. I fucking can't stand that guy. He said that he's the best, in his mind, he's the best point guard to ever live in NBA history. Agree or disagree? I'm going to go with no on this one. But so agree or disagree? And if you disagree, what are you guys' top three? And is he in there? I'll start with Bo. Go for it, buddy.
I mean, no, he's not. I would take Magic there.
Me too.
And statistically, Magic buries him in just about everything except shooting percentage, I think. So if we were just going with the greatest shooter ever, sure, Steph's that guy. I mean, especially beyond the arc, I mean, his shooting percentage is impressive. But as far as playing the position, I give it to Magic. I don't even need to add an extra two. Like Magic is that number one spot.
Yeah, I got Magic. I always value Magic. It's the best, greatest point guard of all time. So you talking about just only at the point guard position. I got Magic. I look at Magic as the best. I haven't watched Oscar Robertson, so I won't put him in because I haven't watched him personally play. And I think Steph Curry. I think if you want to put Steph Curry in the top three point guards at his position, I think you actually could, but I'm going to just go with Isaiah Thomas. I like that Isaiah Thomas a lot better. And you know what? I'm going to go with Gary Payton because I'm going to go with Gary Payton. That dude, if you look at this dude was really good. Defensively, offensively, he was really good. And he's not afraid to let you know about it. He's not afraid to let you know and shut you down. He's going
to say if shit talking was a category.
Yeah, he's gonna let you know about it, but he's gonna shut you down at the same time. The guy, that's my guy. Gary Payton was my guy. So right now, those are my top three guard. Those are my top three point guards. I really love Gary Payton. I mean, he's winning Defensive Player of the Year every single season. He's gonna give you 20 points per game. He's going to drive to the basket. He's going to be a playmaker. He was a very good playmaker as well. People don't acknowledge his playmaking, how good he was. The young Gary Payton with Sean Kemp and that Seattle Supersonics team, how he led that team. So Gary Payton's one of my favorite point guards of all time that I love, man. I really love this physical defense and the way he guarded Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan will always come out on articles. He didn't give me problems. Well, yes, he did give him problems. I just think George Karl made the adjustment too little, too late. I just thought he made it too late. But Gary Payton's one of my favorite point guards of all time.
So, Bo put it in there. I was gonna say Stockton, I think, didn't get as much credit as he should. He was an excellent point guard.
Yeah, no.
I think at the time that he was playing, he was just overshadowed. But don't get it twisted. His numbers say that he's probably top 6, top 5.
I mean, I don't know that his assist number will ever get passed. Like his assist number is off the charts.
No, 100%. And see, like to me, point guards, shooting's part of their game, but the major, most important thing for me for a point guard is the court visibility and the ability to distribute. I don't if I had a point guard, he scored 8 to 12 points a game, but had 9 to 9 to 15 assists every night, yeah, absolutely, 100%. That's the direction that I would go in.
Yeah, that Gary Payton was actually my guy. Was my guy. I love to watch every single night. If I wanted to watch a Sonics game, I would watch him. Even when they were bad, when Seattle were bad, I would actually watch him. I would actually watch him and how he played.
No, 100%.
Gary Payton was awesome.
Let's switch it up, guys. We're gonna go NFL now. So the newest addition to my New England Patriots this offseason is Zeke Elliott.
Yep.
First of all, does Zeke have something left in the tank to offer to the Pats, or is this a reach? Bo, I'll start with you, buddy.
All right. So it doesn't move the needle for your team. He's kind of past that point in his career where he is a difference maker. The one thing that's going to be nice for him is the Pats always have a good offensive line. So that'll help. They'll be able to open some gaps for him. But he's just not that running back that he was early in his career in Dallas. He's not that guy. He's proven it year after year. He'll have moments, but for the most part, that doesn't really move the needle. They would have been better off to go and get somebody else. That being said, they got him for cheap. So I mean, in that way, it was helpful. But I don't think you're. Well, we'll put it this way: he joined the team, and Vegas still has 7.5 wins for the Pats. Didn't move it at all.
Nope. So this is they with everything included for him, and I mean everything, incentives and everything. It's $6 million. So 1 year, I think they took a flyer on him. I think they took a flyer on him and just said, "Sure, Zeke, we'll see what you got. We'll see what you got." Now, is that going to be enough motivation for him to kind of light a fire under his ass and get him back at least close to 2016? I don't know. Maybe. He could have a resurgence year and just all the doubters wrong. We'll see, but it's basically a flyer. It's $6 million is not, that's cheap. That's extremely team friendly. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it just goes to show, like, when they were shopping him, I mean, did you guys hear much about teams that were interested in him? Because I realistically didn't.
No, I mean, look at it this way. Would you have been interested in Zeke when you had guys like Derrick Henry that they were shopping for trades as well, who also didn't find a home? And it's not like Derrick Henry fell off. He got hurt last year, and it took other teams 5 weeks to get past his rushing numbers, right? He missed half the season and finished in the top 10 in rushing. It's not like his gameplay fell off. So no, I mean, when you have that caliber of running back in Derrick Henry and they can't find a landing spot for him, there's no way anybody is even looking at Zeke, because why would you? His numbers haven't supported it.
Yeah, I don't think it moves the needles. No, I don't think nobody was interested in Zeke before he even went to the Patriots. I don't think nobody. You still had better running backs out there, like Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt's still out there. Yep. I thought it would have been a better opportunity for him to be a backup behind Ramondre Stevenson. So I don't think this movie. Yeah, you have mostly a lot of good running backs that's still out there that can get the job done for you. So I don't think this moved the needle. And I think he's kind of falling off a little bit. Not a lot. He's falling off a lot too. He's falling off a lot. He has trouble getting in shape as well. He doesn't have the best work ethic. At all. He had those issues in Dallas. So I just thought the Patriots could have got something better. I mean, if you could have got Kareem Hunt, that would have been very good behind Ramondre Stevenson, who's already shown signs of being one of the top 15 running backs in this league. Hey, I mean, that wouldn't be bad. That wouldn't be bad at all.
No, 100%. To me, like, I'm kind of on board with what you guys like. They got him. They got him because I think multiple factors. He was cheap, and I think the Pats are seriously concerned about what their red zone offense is going to look like, because Mac Jones is still very much unproven. Very much unproven. There's a lot to be desired there. This is a prove it year for him too. There's a lot there. So there's an article out, guys, that I wanted to get your thoughts on this. This is a ranking of basically, it goes by, the criteria for this are it ranks them from hardest to least hardest schedule wise, judging off of the quality of QBs you play for your schedule. So that's the criteria. So basically, it's they look at your schedule and they go off of how many quality QBs are you playing this season, and they rank them from 1 all the way down the list. Now I'm going to ask you guys, before I even give you the standings, who do you think the top 5 are? So which teams do you think play the hardest schedule according to quality quarterbacks they have to face? Bull, I'll start with you.
Man. So trying to remember what everybody's schedules are.
If you just had to guess, who do you think? You know what I mean? Like if you were just to look at the NFL and say, who do you think has the hardest path?
Yeah, so I mean, it's funny because I mean, by and large, it's going to be a lot of AFC teams because the AFC is loaded with quarterbacks. The other one is like Seattle actually has kind of a tougher schedule going up against the Cowboys and the Eagles. I think they have the Chiefs in there somewhere. So I mean they have kind of a rougher schedule as well. But yeah, I can't remember everybody's schedule offhand. But yeah, I would imagine that they're giving the nod mostly to the AFC teams just because there's a couple of divisions that are pretty well loaded.
So you are correct there. It is the top 2 are AFC.
Yeah.
And I would be, hold on. The top 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yep. The top 5 are all AFC teams. What do you think, Dante?
Well, this is by quarterbacks though, right?
Yeah.
By quality quarterbacks that they have to face this season.
All right. I'm okay. I'm gonna say Cincinnati. Yeah, Cincinnati. The Chargers.
All right, so
go ahead.
All right, go ahead. Keep going. So Cincy, the Chargers. Who else? One more.
One more. The Dolphins. Yep. I would say the Dolphins.
So I'm gonna read you the list. The Miami Dolphins are number 1.
Okay,
with quality quarterbacks they have to face this season.
All right, Miami.
They have to face Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, and Aaron Rodgers, to name a few.
Yeah, that seems right.
Number two is my home team, the New England Patriots.
Number 3 is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
Number 4, the Buffalo Bills. And number 5, the Chargers.
Okay, I had 2 of them in there. I had 2 of them.
You did have 2. Yep. So my question is to you guys: who is your dark horse team this season? Who do you think is going to surprise some people that we may not think?
So
Bo, I'll start with you.
Like how far are you going with surprising? Like, do you mean do they sneak into the playoffs, or you think they're like a Super Bowl dark horse?
No, I mean surprise. Like they'll one of those teams that'll be like, oh, they're in the mix this year. That's interesting.
So I think Atlanta's not going to be as bad as everybody paints them to be. I like some of their roster, and if they could get a couple of things to fall their way, they could make some noise. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team or anything like that, but I think they will be a better team than people thought they were, or think they're going to be anyway.
Interesting. Dante, who do you think?
So if I had to if I had to go with a surprise team, that will say that will put a league on notice. Not saying they will actually make the playoffs, because I don't think the Falcons are making the playoffs. We can agree on that. I don't think they're making the playoffs, but I'm going to say my Houston Texans will be better than expected with a 7-10 record. With the new head coach, D'Amico Ryans, the defensive guru, you're gonna CJ Stroud will be your starting quarterback, even though the Texans the only team that has a name the starting quarterback. Fortunately, I know the quarterback is going to be CJ Stroud. It's going to be CJ Stroud. So other than that, Jimmy Ward is a big pickup from San Francisco, who came over with D'Amico Ryans. We got a better linebacking core than we got last year. A receiving core. I like our depth on the receiving core. I like our depth. Offensive line, we just got a big pickup on the offensive line today. The Cardinals are just shopping everybody. They just they go. Isaiah. I know Bo like that. That's it. He don't mind that. That's in his division. He don't mind that. He said shop everybody, shop the whole team. He wouldn't mind that at all. So other than that, they gave up Isaiah Simmons for a 7th-round pick, who's been one of their best linebackers for years. Just gave up their Josh Jones to us, so we needed some offensive line depth, so that's a good pickup for us. But other than that, I think we're going to be improved. Not saying we're going to make the playoffs like Bo said. The Falcons, they're going to be competitive. Falcons are going to be competitive where everybody thinks they are, but I'm going to say the Texans make that next year. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're not going to make the playoffs, but they will have a respectable record. Already the most money in cap space next year. I think after the 7-10 season, let's build up on that for next year. Now you can start talking about that playoff hunt and stuff like that. So I think the Texans will surprise a lot of people with a 7-10 record.
So I believe your Texans are going to be really good after this next offseason. So I think you're going to have moments where you guys really flash. You're going to have games where you're like, oh, okay, here we go. This is what they can do. But your team's so young, you're going to also have those games that you probably should win that are going to fall apart. So I think having everybody have this season, have next off season, and the rookies that you bring in, then all of a sudden you're going to be a really competitive team. I still don't think you're going to be a favorite or anything.
No, we're not.
It will be a competitive team.
Yes, I believe that. I agree with you.
So my surprise team, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to make it at least into the first round of the playoffs.
Okay. How?
I think the Steelers are going to at least make it into the first round of the playoffs. Maybe, possibly even the second. But I think Pittsburgh is my surprise team on the year.
Okay. I mean, so it's going to be really tough to get in to a wild card spot in that division. So who do you think misses that should be there for the Steelers to get in?
What was that, Bo? What was that?
Oh, I was like,
who do I think? Who do you think?
Misses,
whose place do the Steelers take?
Yeah. Because that is a tough conference to try and get that wild card berth in.
Yeah. So who do I think that they take the place of? I'm trying to think who were the wild cards last year? I forget.
Baltimore. Yeah, the Chargers.
Yep.
Yeah, the Dolphins. Yeah,
so I bet the Steelers take the Chargers' place then, because I don't have a lot of faith in the Chargers at all. Sorry, okay. Jake, if you're listening. Sorry, Jake.
So then you don't think
I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't have a lot of faith in the Chargers either. I think they end up with a new coach after this season. But
yeah.
So I mean, you could definitely be right. I was just looking at that conference and it's like, man, there's a lot of teams that are going to be aiming for that 7th seed.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And I think this season, just from the movement and how teams draft, like this year, the amount of like bubble teams that are going to be fighting it out for playoff berths I think it's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, you'll have a double-digit win team not make the playoffs from the AFC.
100%. I could easily see a team with 10 wins not get in.
Yep.
10 or 11 wins.
Yep. That's how good the AFC gonna be this year.
Yep. Absolutely.
So here's the other part of that. Who's gonna be real? Who are the bottom 3 teams this year? Who's gonna drop? Who's gonna be bad?
I mean, the Cards are trying to be bad, so they have to be one. I mean, they literally gave away one of their best guys for a pack of Big Red and a pat on the ass. So I don't really think they're even trying to win games at this point. After that, I think some of these teams aren't going to be as bad as people say. Like, I don't think the Rams are going to be the train wreck that the media keeps portraying them to be. I think they're going to be a 7 or 8, maybe 8 win team. I mean, they do still have some nice pieces on that team. So I don't think they're going to be nearly as bad as they're sold to be. And I'm not thinking that the Bears are going to be as good as everyone else seems to think they're going to be. They did bring in some stuff to help Justin Fields out. And we're going to finally figure out if he can throw a pass in the league because, he hasn't been able to do that yet. So it's one of the things that cracked me up. I was talking about it earlier today, actually, is, in the first preseason game, he was 3 for 3, 129 yards and a touchdown. And on a stat sheet, that looks awesome, right? What that stat sheet doesn't show you is of that 3 for 3, he threw for -1 air yard, which means the receivers did all the work, right?
Yeah, so, his help did the work. He just got him the football.
So on one hand, he finally has help, right? He has receivers that can finally do something. On the other hand, we already knew he could throw to the flat, right? So that didn't show me anything about his ability to toss the ball. So all of this hype about him being that dude and maybe being the best in the league. And I'm just like, let's pump the brakes a little bit. Let's let him throw the ball. I don't know, maybe past the line of scrimmage and figure out if he can actually do that in the league. So I think Justin Fields is something that we kind of figure out about week 10 on whether or not he's going to be solid as far as being able to throw the ball around. That being said, they're probably
can you throw a football in a tight window?
Yeah, exactly. So they're probably a 5-win team. So I think they're going to be bad. I don't think that the Colts are going to be very good. I am less high on the Colts than a lot of people. And the reason for that is, well, one, they're probably not going to have a running back anymore. And 2, Anthony Richardson doesn't throw a short pass particularly well. And when you are looking at NFL teams, your most common pass is underneath, outs, slants, flat, and he routinely misses these slam dunks of throws. Can he stretch the field? Absolutely. Dude has a cannon. And is he athletic? No question. The problem is 90% of your throws are within the 20-yard line, and you got to be able to complete those. And if you watch some of these preseason games, he literally threw in between two receivers that weren't particularly close directly to a safety. And I mean, who are you throwing to? So that is a team that I think is not going to perform as well as people are predicting they are. And largely in part because I think he ended up on the wrong team, because he's going to be wheeled out week 1 and he's just not ready for that yet. He would have been way better off to be on a team that was able to have him sit the bench, hold a clipboard, and work on some things. And with the Colts, he's just not going to have that opportunity. They're going to shove him out there, and he's going to make a lot of mistakes. He's going to throw a lot of picks.
So let's be honest, guys, right? Well, what's the one area of the field that makes or breaks an NFL quarterback? The red zone. When you squeeze the field down into those 20-yard and in, and you got to throw into tight windows and you can't do it, you're probably not going to be long for this league.
Well, I would bet money that when he ends up in those situations, he's going to use his legs more than anything.
100%, because he's probably like, that's the other thing too. If he doesn't have confidence, he'll absolutely do that. He'll pull the ball down and try and score on his legs. But this is the other thing too, why the NFL is just so different. Like, it is a leaps and bounds light year difference between college, because in college, a lot of these athletic quarterbacks, right? They are so much faster than the defenses that they're playing. But when you got a fucking guy who's 318 pounds and can run, and can keep up with you in a 15-yard sprint, that's a problem. That's a problem. And that's where these guys get into trouble. It's because when you have a 270-pound linebacker that can run just as fast as you, it's usually not going to end well for you.
Yeah, I mean, you got linebackers running 4.5s, right? I mean, these guys are moving out. You got linemen that are running 4.9s and 5.1s. I mean, they're moving. And
they're 300 pounds, dude. Like, they're 295 to 310, 315 pounds. Some of these guys are 330, and they're running 5.1. Like, that's why that these athletic quarterbacks, they're not long. That's a 6-year window. You got 6 years to probably win as many titles as you can with them, because guess what? Over time, as you get old and those legs get old, that speed diminishes. And what are you left with? Your ability to read a field and throw in the pocket. And if you don't know how to do that, you're history.
Well, I mean, ultimately, that's why Cam Newton never really was able to sustain success. Is he just never really honed his ball throwing skills. And so as soon as his athletic ability started to wane a little bit, he couldn't make up for it for his ability to throw the ball. It's one of the things that I actually credit Lamar with a lot more than I don't know why there's still a narrative that's he's a running quarterback and whatever. If you look at his completion percentage, it is continuously risen every year. He has actually developed that part of his game. When he came into the league, absolutely. He was a running back that could throw the ball a little bit. But as it sits now, he's still super athletic. But if he has to sit in the pocket and throw, he can.
And here's the thing too, credit to him for recognizing that too, and being like, if I run the ball, I'm going to get killed. And if I get killed, I'm off the field and I can't help my team. So credit to him for that, because a lot of these running quarterbacks, they kind of say the hell with throwing the football, so that's good on, so good on him for recognizing that, I got to be able to at least complete some of this underneath stuff.
Yep. Well, and that's the thing that we have to watch Justin Fields this year, right? He finally has some receivers. Yeah. He has an offensive line that it's not amazing, but it's better than it was last year. Which, let's be honest, he was running for his life half the time. He didn't even have an opportunity to throw. So going into this season, he has some of those things, which is why I say by week 10, we're going to find out if he can throw the ball or not, because he's going to finally have some opportunities to. So we'll just have to see, is he proficient at it, or is he going to be more of that Dak Prescott where you're not really sure which jersey is going to catch that ball.
Yeah. So we're going to do kind of a final thing here at the NFL, and then we're going to take a few questions if anybody's in the chat that wants to ask a few questions, and then we'll finish it up. But so Seahawks fan, Bo, what's a early season prediction for your team? Like floor and ceiling, and so floor first and then ceiling, and how do you think the year is going to go for your Hawks?
So the floor would be assuming a bunch of dudes get hurt or Geno forgets how to play football. I think I guess 8. I think the ceiling is probably 11. Realistically, what my prediction there is 10-7, because they've added some nice things. Everything that Geno did last year is duplicatable. It's one of the things that is encouraging about Geno is it's not like he did anything hyper athletic to get wins, right? He didn't have some long scramble or throw an absolute missile 80 yards down the field or something. He was able to use his guys, be smart, protect the football. They were a top 5 scoring offense until they started losing, guys to injuries. So for, 2/3 of the season, they were a top 5 scoring offense. So you pair that with the things that they have added on the defensive side, because their front 7 was an absolute liability last year. Teams were putting up almost 200 yards a game against them. So between the linebackers that they were able to bring in, the defensive line that they brought in free agency and through the draft, that unit should basically move from the 30th ranked unit to 14th or 15th in the league. And then they have an awesome secondary at this point. So with those things, I would look at them being a 10-7 team. They were 9-8 last year, and they're going to be significantly better than last year, but have a harder schedule. So that'll be one of those. It won't necessarily equate to more wins, but they'll be a better overall team.
Yeah, but I think I got Seattle, like I say, at 11 wins this year. I think they can get 11 wins, obviously. I think losing Jackson Smith-Njigba will hurt for the first couple of weeks, because I think he will be a very good slot receiver. But DK Metcalf and Lockett show a lot of consistency, so I think they will be fine. They can hold off till he comes back. And I also like the running back, man. Zach Charbonnet as a backup behind Kenneth Walker. That can be a 1-2 duo right there. Zach is really good, man. I watched him a lot at UCLA. He is really actually good. If Geno can have that consistency, I believe he's going to be fine. And like I said, your defense is getting better and better. I mean, Woodley, nobody would think he would be as good as he were last year. You got guys like Cook on that defense. Like I said, I'm very high on the Seattle Seahawks this year.
Yeah, no, I mean they should be a solid team. They should be a solid team. I still think the Niners are the better one in the division, but
I still think I got the Niners better. Yeah. I actually do got the Niners better.
Sorry, guys. That's welcome to the wonderful world of living on the water, on the coast, I should say. Welcome to the wonderful world of living on the coast, where there's massive sections of town that just have zero reception.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So I agree, but Geno was the perfect game manager last year. Didn't make a lot of stupid mistakes, and just kind of handled business for you guys when you had to, and that's how you won. You made less mistakes as the other team.
Here's the thing that's funny about it is, although he was that, what people kind of missed in what Geno was able to do is he threw the rock around a lot more than people think. He actually set the Seahawks single season passing record last year.
Did he really?
Yeah, he had over 4,000 yards passing.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So he had, if I remember right, roughly 4,400 yards. Like that is a no joke passing season.
No, that's good. Over 4,000 is a good year.
Absolutely. So, and you think of all those years with Russ and all of that, and I mean, single season passing record, Geno gets it first time out.
Yeah, no, that's I didn't even realize that, but that's a good year, man.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not like he was the Trent Dilfer, ultimate game manager. It was, I mean, he came out and threw the ball around because
100%. All right, Dante, your Texans are up. What do you think for a floor, a ceiling, and how do you think the year is going to go for you guys?
Well, our floor, I will say, our schedule is not hard this year. It's not really actually hard this year than it was last year. And our schedule was actually hard last year, and we still played competitive football, even though we were 3-14. We lost 8 close games, so that's pretty much competitive football we did play. Unfortunately, we weren't good enough to win those games. So getting a quarterback in this draft like C.J. Stroud was very important for us because couldn't go into another season, with Davis Mills as your starting quarterback. He's shown you had plenty of time. He had plenty of time to show you that whether he could be a franchise quarterback. He just hasn't shown enough to give you a thought that, hey, I can be a franchise quarterback. So, again, CJ
wasn't a visibility thing either. He could definitely see over the line.
We're already better at running back. Devin Singletary is really good. He's going to be back up behind Dameon Pierce, who had a really good rookie season last year. And this running back class was really good running back class. Kenneth Walker leading the way. Breece Hall was really good. Going into before he got hurt. Now Dameon Pierce, who was a 3rd round pick for us, had over 1,000 all-purpose yards for us. And Tyler Algier was a 4th round pick for Atlanta, was really good. So that was a very good running back rookie class. Nico Collins, if he can stay healthy, he can be solid. I like Tank Dell. He's our rookie. He's going to get a lot of playing time this year for us. John Mechie coming out of cancer. Like I said, I like our secondary. I like our defense. I like our offensive versatility at the wide receiver position. Like I said, we just picked up offensive lineman for Arizona who's giving up everybody, who's giving away everybody. It's just like they giving up late. They say, "Here, you can have them." So I don't know what they're doing over there. They gave up one of their best linebackers. They gave up one of their best offensive linemen that they gave up. So we definitely will take some of that depth on the offensive line. Got a little bit of Dalton Schultz should definitely help us out, help C.J. Stroud. He was very good for Dallas. He's the tight end. He's very good for Dallas last year. He's one of the tight end is always going to be a quarterback's best friend, and Dalton Schultz is the perfect one for C.J. Stroud. Our defense should be more improved. Will Anderson had a hell of a preseason. He looked very dominant, very good on the all defensive line. So, and we added Sheldon Rankins, who's big on that defensive line there. So we looking more competitive, but I think our floor is 7-10. I got us set about 7 games up in there. This is basically an improvement year. Even if you win 6 games, you improve. You improve from last year. Most money in cap space. Next year. Now you have an opportunity to build upon all of the success you had this year. The ceiling for us, I think, it can be 9-8. Because the division aren't good, it's not good. The division is not good. Jacksonville made the division at 9-8 last year, and they didn't even play well in the division. They played well outside of the division. That's what most of their wins for. So I say the ceiling 9-8. That's the earliest, but the floor is definitely 7-10, which is a lot of, including myself. Houston fans will be definitely extremely happy for, including D'Amico Ryan's first year turning this organization around. He's got a 6-year deal, so he's going to have plenty of time to get this thing situated and settled down. So I'm looking for basically an improvement year for us this year.
Yeah, definitely. I think that you guys are actually going to know how to use Singletary too. I think the Buffalo Bills were clueless how to use him.
Yep.
No, and I'm with you on your team there. I think it's definitely an improvement year. I have the floor a little bit lower. I have it at 5. I think you're a 6-win team, but the top end, yeah, you could be an 8 or 9 win team because again, your division isn't amazing. And so you could definitely get some in-division wins for sure. They, again, like we were saying before, I think the biggest thing is there's going to be some games that you're going to shock some people and win. And then there's going to be some games that you just fall apart. And it's just because the team is so young. But I mean, there's dudes all over that roster, and this year may not necessarily look like, what the fans would like it to, although you are basically going to double your win total from last year. I think next year is where that team really starts to pop.
I agree with you.
And there's like in every sport, like let's be honest, right? In every sport, there's like a rookie wall. A lot of these guys aren't used to like the NFL's it's a long year, man. 17 games and you're flying all over the country, and like just the rigor of the regular season is, and then if you make the playoffs, then it's four more games, so it's a long year. These I'm with you, Bo. Like a lot of these kids, the young kids, like it takes a toll. They hit that rookie wall sometimes.
Well, and it's funny because so many people are like, oh, I don't understand why the rookies struggle and all of this. And it's like, okay, well, when you think about it, regardless of what college you went to, right? When you're squaring up across from another team, at best, there's 3 to 5 NFL caliber guys on that roster, right? And then you come into the league, and if you are the worst team in the league, you're still lining up every day against 5-star All-Americans that basically hold almost every position of a 53-man roster. So, the talent jump is second to none. So, I mean, of course, there's going to be the season's longer, everybody's faster. Yeah, I mean, you're going to get wore out. It's part of it. So, and you're a rookie. The game is a little bit different. It's still football, but there's just little nuances that aren't quite the same, and you're going to make mistakes. You're going to have those moments where, on it was Thursday night, that one of the Browns players, rather than stepping out of bounds and giving them an opportunity to throw a Hail Mary and beat the Eagles, he steps inside, gets tackled, game over as a tie, right? Those are the kind of mistakes that rookies are going to make, and they'll ultimately win or lose you a game depending on how those work out. So in his case, because it was in preseason, it's significantly worse because you haven't made a roster yet, and you may not because of a mental mistake like that. But if you made the 53-man roster, and you make those mistakes, you lose games, you keep your spot. But, it's a situation that I think the Texans are going to look at, is because the team is so young, there's going to be those moments where they lose some games they probably shouldn't. And it's mostly just going to be because they're young, inexperienced, and, just make a bad decision in the moment.
It becomes all about, the coaches.
100%.
And this is what it comes down to. You're going to have a rookie that's going to struggle, no matter if it's a rookie quarterback, rookie wide receiver. Rookie wide receiver may struggle with some drops, like Jamar Chase did the year that he came out. He struggled in the camp preseason with a lot of drops, but it's all about letting that rookie work through his mistakes. It takes patience. It takes patience. And I think D'Amico Ryans kind of knows that C.J. Stroud is going to go through it, but how you bounce back from that, I think that's what you need to see. Every rookie quarterback is going to make mistakes. You got veterans out here still making those same type of mistakes in the league. You got in the league that the rookies are making. So it's all about what coach, which one of these coaches is going to let these rookies fight through their mistakes. That's all it's about for as a rookie quarterback.
100%. So I put my Patriots at a floor of 7 and 8 wins. A floor.
So your floor is above Vegas's number.
I would say 7 or 8 is the floor.
Okay.
And then my ceiling would be, with their schedule, realistically 10 and 7.
Okay.
there's not much like either and it, don't get me wrong, like that's 7. That's I think Vegas has got him at what, 6?
7.5.
Yeah, so I would say the floor for them would be 7 because I do think they can, just looking at that schedule, they're, for the first time in like 20 seasons, the Pats are only favored in 3 games out of the 17. They're underdogs almost the entire season. It's Vegas is not giving them a good shot at all, and it's understandable why. Like they've struggled. They've struggled. Their offensive line is a massive issue now. The depth.
I mean, it shouldn't be. You guys drafted every guard in the draft.
but to me, the interior of our line is not the problem.
Yeah.
David Andrews and our 2 guards are David Andrews is really good, and the 2 guards are serviceable. Michael Wenyu is really good too. So it's my worry is Trent Brown and
gone.
There you go. There you go. There you go again. They got the audit. There you go. There you go again.
That's the tackle positions on the field they're your anchors, man. You have bad tackles and you're toast. Yeah. Like that edge doesn't get sealed and secured. You're that's curtains most of the time.
Well, and Mac Jones isn't athletic enough to get away from it.
And that's the problem. Is like, okay, you could have 2 low average tackles.
I have no idea what you're saying, man.
Yeah, Bobby, you breaking up pretty bad.
And gone.
Yeah, for real. Bobby out of there. Bobby out of there.
Yeah, I'm not super optimistic for the Patriots. They're in a tough division. They have a lot of holes on that team. I don't know. I think that honestly, I think Vegas' 7.5 is kind of a lofty goal.
Yeah. I'm just like, to me, I bank on Bill Belichick because Bill Belichick is going to always find a way to keep this team competitive, regardless on how bad it may be. That's just kind of like, Mike Tomlin with the Steelers. I mean, for the last 2 years, the Steelers ain't been a good football team. They just, I think, for us, the discipline and the coaching ability of Mike Tomlin, just keeping them over the top, keeping them over the hump, and being able to motivate very well. I think that's what comes into play for the Pittsburgh.
So let's say right, like we have 2 below average tackles, right?
Yeah.
Let's say we have 2 below average tackles. At least if you have a like semi-athletic quarterback, they can slide in the pocket and avoid. But like Mac Jones is a fucking statue. That dude has granite for feet. You know what I mean? Like he's not that guy. He's a guy who's going to use his accuracy and field vision to get after you. Yep. But if you like, that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, no, I mean, unfortunately for you guys, Mac Jones isn't athletic, right? He is very accurate. I will give him that. But he needs space. And, historically, your offensive line has been pretty good. The tackle position leaves something to be desired. The problem is for the first time, really ever, all the rest of the teams in that division are significantly better than the Patriots. Just rosters top to bottom. I would take the Bills, the Dolphins, at this point, the Jets. I mean, I don't know that you win a game in division this year.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's definitely a concern. So my floor would be 7 wins, and my ceiling would be 10 at the most.
Yeah.
And that's like if everything goes right and fucking the football gods are on our side and everything. Like that's if everything goes right. But in reality, I think they're going to be 8-9, 9-8. Again, I think that's where they're sitting, because to me, I take a look at their schedule and I some of these teams, I just don't think they have enough to beat. They're definitely not beating Kansas City. Like some of these upper echelons playoffs teams.
Yeah.
Realistically, they don't have enough talent to compete with them. And Mac Jones is a massive, and I can't say with confidence that Mac Jones is the guy and he's going to be able to lead this team, and carry this team when it needs to. I can't say that with confidence. Judging from how he handled last year with the small amount of adversity that was last year, it's not exactly confidence inspiring.
So, I give him a little bit of a pass for some of that, right? When you have a defensive coach, a defensive coordinator as your offensive coordinator, I get some of the, hey, let me reach out to somebody that understands offense to try and get better. I can't really hate on him too much for that. That being said, he didn't play great either, so it didn't matter. But but I can't really fault the guy on wanting to try and get better and reaching out. It doesn't do good things in the locker room or the dynamic between the coaches, though. So there is that.
No, 100%. That's kind of the issue. Is I think a lot of Patriot fans are like, well, we want to see something out of this guy. We want to see, what I mean? You got to prove it. You want us to be 1,000% behind you and be in your corner? Prove it, kid. Last year, you handled adversity like crap. So,
but still not the worst. There's Zach Wilson.
This is true. But thanks again, guys, for coming on the show. Dante, good to have you back. Bo,
thank you so much.
Thanks for taking the invite short notice. Bo, where can they get a hold of, do you have your social medias? Where can they find you?
Yeah, so on YouTube, it is at football-talk is my channel. My Twitter is right there on the screen, and you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, every other normal social media. Nice. I am the most active on Twitter, though. So if you want to talk sports, hop on, and I'm in and around Twitter throughout the day.
All righty, Dante, tell them where they can get at you, buddy.
Uh-oh.
Did we lose Dante?
Looks like it. Hopefully he'll pop back in.
Hold on.
The joys of live broadcast.
Oh, yeah. We'll give him another minute. And if he comes back. If he doesn't come back, thanks again, Dante, for coming on the show, buddy. Much appreciated. Oh, hold on. There he is. We got him. We got him back. There he is.
I tried to unmute myself. Okay, so
Dante, tell them where they can get at you, buddy.
Oh, man, y'all can find me at Coach Dante on YouTube. Y'all can find me on the Sports Wave network as well. Got some stuff coming up on that one. Y'all find me all over the place, man. All over the place. Twitter at Coach Dante 31, Instagram at Coach Dante 31, Facebook at Lazarian Chriswell, my actual name. So y'all just get at me, man.
All right. Thanks again, Dante, for coming on. Bo, hang on for 1 second after we cut this broadcast, guys. Hang on for 1 second in the StreamYard thing. We got some stuff we got to talk about.
Okay.
But other than that, thanks again, guys, for tuning in. Much appreciated. That's episode 35 of the Down the Pike podcast. Thanks to Bo and Dante again. Much appreciated, guys. The crew and me are out of here. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see you on episode 36. We're done, y'all. Everybody have a good one. We out of here.
See y'all.
Take it easy.